Let's ditch him. Right behind you. Hello and welcome to my review of Chapter 3 of Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief. And this chapter is entitled, I think it is, Grover Unexpectedly Loses His Pants. I think that's the name of the chapter. I need to address something real quick. You may have noticed that my audio quality has just improved dramatically, and there's a reason for that. I was listening back to the first two reviews that I recorded, and I was using basically some kind of plugin on Dropbox to record my audios, and I did not like the way that it was sounding, so I decided to try to get the regular Redbox audio standard quality recording going, and I'm using a direct plugin to do that. It's a bunch of boring stuff, but yes, that's why I sound different now, and hopefully I'll be able to use this quality for the rest of the series. Okay. And also, I want you to bear with me because I'm going to be looking at my notes while I'm recording this. I'm going to try to keep myself on track, so I might have to pause a few times. But anyway, this chapter, like I said, it's called Grover Unexpectedly Loses His Pants. So it starts off very much where the last chapter left off. They're kind of, this thing with the ladies, the yarn ladies just happened. And Grover's still kind of muttering to himself. He's like, why does this happen? Why is it always 6th grade? Being super cryptic and annoying to Percy, who's like, what is he talking about, right? And we get this part where Percy decides basically, you know, Grover's really nice and he's really kind, but he's freaking me out, so I'm going to ditch him. So that's exactly what he does. He goes into the bathroom, and then Percy basically just leaves. And I thought that was kind of mean. I mean, I have a strong feeling that Grover is not just a kid. He's some kind of guardian. But even so, that seemed kind of mean to me for him to just ditch his friend while he's in the bathroom. I would really hate if someone did that to me. So that was kind of funny. But anyway. And then, basically, we get a situation where Percy goes back to his home because he's leaving school because he was expelled. And we're getting a little more explanation about his home life now. And it is not great. He says that he lives with his mom, and he lives with a man named Gabe. Now, Percy has very strong positive feelings about his mother, and it's very sweet, the way that he talks about her and how she can always help him feel better, and she's just this wonderful person. But he does not like the person that she's with because he's a huge dick named Gabe, and he calls him, I think he calls him Smelly Gabe, is what he calls him. So he goes home. Well, I just need to back up a little bit. He was talking about how his mom was never married to his dad, and it was a secret and all this stuff. You know, I have a feeling that, and I haven't really looked up anything about Percy Jackson, so I don't think this is me, like, saying, oh, I looked this up, so this is how I know this, and it's kind of a spoiler for myself, because I do want this to be like a book club for someone reading it, if they're watching these videos alongside me, but this is just something I'm guessing because of the genre. I'm guessing Percy Jackson's father was some kind of god or something, because that's pretty much the vibe I'm getting from this book. And he says, I remember a warm glow about my father, and I remember, I seem to remember him being with me a short time when I was an infant. But, you know, his mother says his father was lost at sea, and now she's married to this man named Gabe, who really doesn't seem to like Grover at all. And he goes home to meet his mom, and this man is there. And it's a little stereotypical, this scene, because they're kind of like playing poker there at the table, and like it's smoke-filled. You know, they're literally in a smoke-filled room meeting together. And he's just like completely dismissive of Percy and trying to make him feel belittled, and actually a little abusive. This is weird because he said he'd punch his lights out. He said something like he knew that if he did one thing, like I don't remember what he said. But he's like, if I did something, he'd punch my lights out. I don't know if that's literal or not, but for some reason he can't figure out why his mom is with this abusive asshole. Right, and his mom's the most wonderful person that he knows, but she's just with him, and he doesn't really understand it. I'm sorry, I'm looking back at my notes again. Oh, yeah. Also, Percy said earlier that there's no pictures of his dad. So that's another thing that leads me to believe that his dad is some kind of god who is lost at sea, apparently. Not dead, just lost at sea. Maybe his dad's Poseidon? Who knows? Also Percy was talking about earlier in the chapter about how those old ladies, with this, I already mentioned like the old ladies who were knitting the socks, whatever that means, and snip the yarn. They gave him anxiety, but his mom helped that anxiety melt away. So it was very sweet. And he's talking about how his mom has kind of a rebellious streak against Gabe, even though she's very polite to him. And I'm kind of wondering why his mom is with Gabe. Maybe it's because she has to be for some specific reason that has to do with what Percy is. I'm not sure. But anyway, so his mom tells him that the two of them are going to go to Montauk for the weekend. And his mom doesn't seem very concerned about the fact that he was just expelled. She just wants to know how he is and how he's doing. And she says, we're going to go on this kind of trip. We're going to go to our beach home that they hadn't been to for many years because Gabe said that it was too expensive and there was no money for it, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it's written, and I get that. Oh, I do like that in the scene where they were, where Percy first returns home, there is like the landlord doesn't really like Gabe very much, but he's there playing poker with him for some reason, but he doesn't like how he treats his like stepchild, so that's a little bit more nuance in that, so I like that, rather than the men all just being Disney villains. So that was nice. So they go to they're going to go to this place called Montauk, and at first it's very nice. They're just kind of chatting and hanging out there, Percy and his mom, and Percy keeps getting this feeling that he really should tell her about all the stuff that happened at the school with Mrs. Dodds, and he can't bring himself to, because he says he has a feeling that it'll end the weekend, and he doesn't want that. And this kind of goes to a broader theme of like Percy being kind of having like these insights, and like foreknowledge of things the way they should work. He also has this kind of magic ability in the chapter where he like crosses himself like Grover did in the last chapter, which I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but Grover crosses himself like almost like and like the thing that Catholics do, but it's different. And he puts his hand towards Gabe, and it makes Gabe, I'm sorry about that noise, it makes Gabe get hit in the butt by the door. So, which is funny because it reminds me of the don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. But, Percy seems to have all these abilities, these weird things that have happened too, because he's also talking about how he was able to kill a snake when he was very young. That might have hurt him. He also talks about this man who was stalking him at a playground who had one eye in the center of his face. I have a feeling that will come back into play, because that would be really weird if it didn't. So, more and more weird things to start talking about. And Percy's talking to his mom about, whether she's going to send him away again. And she says, well, I think I might have to. We have to do something. We wanted you to be far away, and basically saying they wanted him to be protected. And he's like, from what? I don't really know what you're talking about. She's kind of sounding the same way that Mr. Brunner was sounding when he said that he had to leave school because he's not normal. And his mom has been picking up on the fact that he is not sharing something with her. She's like, what happened with the museum? Because he mentions the museum in earlier, and she's like, what's happening with the museum? What happened with the museum? What are you not telling me? And he's like, nothing, Mom. And then so they're talking about conversation. They're having a conversation about his dad and stuff, and his mom tells him, well, you couldn't remember your dad because your dad left before you were actually born. So he's like, why do I remember him? So things are not coming together, but we're definitely getting more detail. But I do like the relationship he has with his mom. It is written a little bit too, it seems like it's a little too sweet, maybe. They have too much of a sweet relationship, but it does seem like it might be there for a reason. Like it's not entirely as it seems, as it actually comes to later, because Percy has this dream that there's this, hold on, I gotta look back at this. This was pretty wild. Okay. There's a horse and an eagle fighting, and there's lightning. Again, coming back to the lightning theme, just like in the first chapter, and the book is called The Lightning Thief. And there's this deep voice goading them on, like, fight, 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 fight. And it's not saying that exactly, but basically. And Percy felt like he had to stop the eagle and the horse colliding. And then he wakes up to find that there's actually a hurricane going on, and someone is pounding on the door, and lo and behold, his mom throws the door open, and it's Grover in the doorway. And I said in the last chapter I thought maybe it was a centaur, that Brunner was a centaur. But it says he had these, let me look at this, shaggy legs with cloven hooves where his feet should be. So I don't know what that would look like, but that's strange. Maybe they're goat legs. Maybe they're maybe he's like a horse. Some kind of animal thing. And Grover speaks Greek, curses in Greek, and Percy can understand it for some reason. So that's odd. Again, kind of going with the mythology angle. And Percy finally kind of fesses up about what happened at the museum a little bit, and his mom's like, we have to go right now. And then they basically go get in the car. Or at least they're going toward the car at the end of the chapter. So, this is interesting me a lot more, actually. Maybe this is just because I'm writing notes down, but I'm finding that I have a lot of stuff to keep track of, which is kind of annoying when I read books sometimes. Just having to keep track of so many things, that are going to come back. But, I mean, it's like, how long, the novel was, and I felt like I had less to keep track of at this point in that book than I do in this one. But, yeah, so, but I am a lot more interested in it because the story seems to be really picking up. But at the same time, it's not like I'm not getting hooked into things organically. Some stories that they hook you into the characters first, and then you start getting the mythology surrounding the characters. This book seems to be more like it's mythology with characters thrown around it, and we're just kind of setting up the stage now. But it's not like, I don't think you're very emotionally attached to the characters right now, because you haven't really had any time to get to know them so far. They haven't really had just an outing where they go out and do something dumb and you get to know the characters. I like when stories start out that way, where you get an emotional bond with the characters first. So that is a little bit of criticism there, but I'm sure it will get better later on because it is the third chapter. But and I apologize if I got the title of it wrong, some detail of the title wrong, but I will correct it in the in the tags and the description and all that good stuff. But overall, I like this chapter. It doesn't feel, like I said, the last one felt like it was just a transition and it wasn't really its own thing. This one felt like it was its own thing, like it was a whole thing that happened. They went to, we met Gabe and we went somewhere and we got a story and now we're moving on to the next thing. But that was not really like a whole event, but like a scene. It felt like it was its own scene. And then we're going to move on to something else, as opposed to just being kind of a transition, like I said before. So I did really like this. I'm going to look at my notes real quick to make sure that I did not forget anything, because sometimes when I'm doing these reviews, I do forget things. I found something I forgot. The other thing his mom said she might have to do, if she didn't send him away to the school, would be to send him to summer camp. And it's like, okay, why can't I send me to summer camp? And she's like, if I send you to summer camp, it might be the last time I ever saw you. And he's like, okay then. That makes no sense, but whatever. Well, he doesn't say that, but he has the feeling that if he keeps talking, his mom is going to burst into tears, and he doesn't want that, so he just kind of kills the subject there. So, yeah, that's, I don't know what the summer camp would be. Would it be like some kind of mutant training camp? Or would it be like a thing where, like some academy in the sky for partial gods or something? Half-bloods? Is that what it's called? Did you say half-blood? I know I said half-blood before. I'm not sure if that's actually the term that he used, half-blood. Because I know something else that has the word half-blood in it, and I'm hoping I'm not just getting them confused. And a kindly one and a half-blood. So I don't know what that means. Anyway, but I just looked at my notes and I got everything down. I said everything that I got down, basically. I addressed everything that I wrote. So I don't really have anything else to add there, but hey, Chapter 3, Grover loses his pants. And it's, the titles are never exactly what they seem, which I like. But that was cool. Cool little chapter. And I'm going to move on to Chapter 4. Until next time, I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.